Hi, I'm going to tell you another story. This is an Indian story, and I learned a few Indian stories. Okay, The Boy in the Red Sky. Once there was a young couple, Indians, man and woman. They had no children, and they lived isolated on an island. He would go hunting and fishing often. She, the young wife, would be at home alone and was often depressed and lonely. And every day she felt this, especially when the weather was gray and the mists would come. One day she looked up at a bird, a seabird, and said, "Oh bird, I wish I could have a child so that I wouldn't be so lonely and I could take care of the child." And the seabird said, "Look at the seashells." Then the kingbird came by. Same thing. "I wish I could have a child. Look at the seashells." And then finally a seagull came by. Same thing. "Look at the seashells." And so from behind her, she heard a sound on the beach. And she looked, and in a large seashell, there was a baby crying. And so she took the baby, and she took the baby home and took care of the baby. When her husband came home, he was happy too, because now she wouldn't be so lonely, and they wouldn't be lonely. This was wonderful. The child grew quickly, and when the child was still small, the child, strange child, said, the child, by the way, was the color copper red in skin, and seemed to radiate this copper red color. One day the little boy said to his mother, foster mother, "That copper bracelet that you have, take it off please and make me a bow and make me some arrows, please." She did this, and the little boy would go out hunting with this little bow and arrow, and every day come back with geese and other animals so that they had plenty to eat. And then after the boy killed some birds, the boy then took the feathers and put the feathers on him and actually flew in the air, flew around. Now, one day there was no wind and they had nothing to eat. The father was worried, but the boy said, "Don't worry, let's go out into this stormy, windy sea. I'm afraid. Don't be afraid. As long as I am with you, you don't have anything to fear." So the father believed him, because the father knew that the boy had supernatural powers. They would often ask the boy to tell them about his powers and explain, but he never did. And often he would say, "It's not time yet for me to tell you." So that day, in the stormy sea, they went out in a little rowboat. The sea was terrible, but wherever that boat was, calm was around the boat. And the father realized, wow, amazing powers. What amazing powers this boy has. So then the storm god was angry at this, and the storm god tried to raise huge waves to crush the boat, but always near the boat, no harm. The storm god even asked another god to send a mist to surround them so that they couldn't find their way back to land. No problem. Wherever that boat went, the mist was dispelled. So the storm god gave up. The power of this boy, now young man perhaps, was too great. And then one day, once again, the boy was putting on feathers and wings basically, and flying around. And then he came to the people, his father and mother, and said, "It's time for me to leave. It's time for me to tell you who I am. I'm the child of the sun, and really I have been sent here as a test for me. And now that I have passed the test, I will go back and assume my divine duties, I think. But I'm going to leave you, Mother, this present, this wonderful robe. And when you open the robe, this will create winds. When you close it, the winds will stop. You will basically have power over the winds. And anytime you need me, just scatter some feathers on the sea, and I will realize that you need me. And always you will know that I am available or watching, perhaps, when even after a gray day, at twilight, you see that copper red glow of the setting sun, red and yellow, bright. That's where I will be. The end. Now let me comment a second. I realize there's a short story by Tolstoy that's very similar to this. Tolstoy gets guilt into this, though. I'll tell the story sometime. But I guess Tolstoy, it's so similar. In Tolstoy's case, it was a god also, but he had done something wrong and he was doing penance. That would be more Tolstoy's approach than just a test. But anyway, nice little story.
The Boy of the Red Sky. Number 1. Where did the couple live? Number 2. Why was the wife sad? Number 3. Who did the wife ask for a child? Number 4. How did all of the birds respond to the wife? Number 5. What did the wife find on the beach? Number 6. What was strange about the boy? Number 7. Why did the boy ask his mother to take off her bracelet? Number 8. What did the boy do with the feathers of the birds he killed? Number 9. How did the storm god try to hurt the boy and his father? Number 10. Who was the boy and why was he there? Number 11. What present did the boy give his mother?